Hello and welcome into rabbit hunting here on the Sorare Data YouTube channel. I'm Andrew Laird. You can find me as Lairdinho on Sorare. Today to look back at game week 355 and see all the stuff I didn't win and what I could have won on a souped up rewards week, no less. I'm actually going to do something a little differently today. I tend not to go back through my old lineups like in depth, and I'm actually not going to do that today either. But I missed out, for those of you who listen or watch the other Sorare data stuff, I've mentioned a few times that I missed 2 tier 5 rewards, 1 rare and 1 super rare, by like minimal points. And I wasn't that bothered by it when it happened because it happens. Everybody, there's a cutoff line somewhere. And I wasn't really sweating like tier 5s, even though I mentioned to somebody today, like winning anything is fun. And sometimes you get lucky. And everyone got lucky after last weekend because of the rewards mishap. And so the fact that I like was so close to winning 2 tier 5s at the time was like, oh, all right, whatever. And then it was like, oh, I wonder what I could have actually won. So I am going to look back at those two just to see what more I could have gotten. I'll be honest, I had a pretty good game week. So I'm not here to talk about all of that. But anyway, let's jump right in because that's what I do here. So like I said, I had like a decent game week, and I apologize because sometimes when you see someone win 4 cards and almost 0.09 ETH and racking up those coins, and you hear somebody be like, yeah, it wasn't that great of a week. Like, it's really obnoxious. I get it. And so I'm sorry that it comes off that way, but that's where it was. So you'll notice I did have a few higher scoring players, but Joey Veerman really the only 100. So I'm not sure how high we're going to get when we look back at All-Star Limited and Rare Pro. There were some banging rewards up top, though. Like All-Star Rare Pro first place got Messi. The Messi floor has been like dropping for a little while, but man, winning a Messi would have just been really, really cool. So anyway, so the 2 that came up short, if I remember correctly, let's see, this was that one. So All-Star Rare, I was 3 points short, 3.37 of a tier 5 rare, which normally you're just like, oh, I just missed. But when everybody wins cool rewards, maybe it's actually something that I might have won or wanted. Now, granted, most guys, I don't even know who they are anyway. So, and realistically, like I had to finish 630th and I finished 688th, which just shows you like how many lineups there are in between 3 points away from winning a reward and not. I can't even remember. Maybe this one wasn't even that close. One of the closer ones, but I'll look anyway. So basically like whatever the last spot was in All-Star Rare from last game week. If I just go quickly, what did I say? 630. So we get to scroll, but thankfully it goes pretty quickly. There we go. So it was Juka, who I've never heard of, L15 of 30, and a floor of 0.02 seems like a reasonable tier 5, actually. So maybe All-Star was perfectly fine. They didn't have to apologize and ask for our understanding for that one. So that one, okay, doesn't feel that bad. This one was a killer. Chani, I see, is here. Thank you, Isco, first in, and Sorare Malta. You guys, it's nice to at least know I'm not talking to nobody, at least live. And then clearly the millions of people will watch after. But this Adon DNP was such a killer. Chani, I know, has him as well. And 78 points from a reward. Now, granted, I wouldn't necessarily get all the way up to that spot because there were other Adons in the contest. A jump shoot, folks lurking. Yeah, lurking's fine. I'm more of a lurker myself as well. So the Adon, like, had he played, it's not like, oh, I automatically would have won a reward. Looks like the backup got 67 points. I have 10% on my Adon, which still doesn't get us to 78. So somehow I feel better about that. I'm also the kind of person who, not that I don't think you shouldn't win a reward if you only get one decisive, and I guess the clean sheet too, but I don't 370 shouldn't win a reward in All-Star Rare Pro if you like really think about it. And so had some throwaways here, cap 220, 28 points away. So I did win a tier 4 super rare in cap 220 super rare, which turned out to be Nuno Tavares, who is one of the most volatile players I've ever seen on So Rare Football. But this is turning into exactly the kind of show that I didn't want to do. But anyway, cap 240 rare, I was 5 points short. So this actually grew a little bit. Caravive with a terrible game, Zenit just a total letdown. And then you'll see cap 240 super rare, I was 3.6 short. So reasonably, I feel like I could have gotten close. What I find kind of funny, for me at least, oh my gosh, Vanaken was first. What a card. Wow. I would have possibly won this Saad Agazul. Any good? No, that's pretty good for a super rare too. Yeah, that would have been like, those are the kind of super rares that I feel like I can win. And so that's certainly a bummer. And then 240, I don't even know how far this goes. I should have just looked. Burak Yilmaz, former Lille guy, right? Do I remember that correctly? Give me Lille. Bang. Whew, look at that. Know some guys. So, oh, he's been playing well too. Look at these. So those are the two that I missed out on. The David Valvez saying the 19th, see the 19th place. Oh, this should be, please don't tell me it's like Evan Ferguson, or were you talking about the super rare one? 18, 19. I don't know. Unless that's you, David. And then congratulations on your reward. Yeah. Anyway, not why we're here, because that's not that painful. We're here to bring the pain. So as always, we'll go to the concept builder and we'll see what we could have won in All-Star. I'll go limited, rare, and rare pro. I don't think the super rares were good enough. So, excuse me, I probably won't focus too much on that, but we'll see what happens when we go through. So I mentioned that Joey Veerman scored 100. So he gets to go right in and we'll captain him. And then we'll see what happens from there. Jordan Bayer. So already, if you notice, we're 2/5 of a way to a U23 limited lineup that would probably be pretty successful. And then Tony Cruz comes in. I don't want to say ruins it, but at least shout out to the old guys. So this so far is a lineup that not only would I have made, I think I did make a lineup like this. Yeah, see, I used Veerman in All-Star. This is another Adon lineup that got crushed. That, oh, man. So he would have gotten me like 60 something, right? So I would have gotten like close to a tier. I would have gotten a tier 1. Wow. That sucks. Anyway. Messi, shockingly, man, this is really a lineup I could have made. Messi, Cruz. Although Cruz, if I remember correctly, there was talk that he wasn't going to start because they had Champions League midweek. In fact, I think it's possible I didn't even play Cruz because of that. And then we have a goal. So who's my top goalkeeper? Ter Stegen. Oh, this is a big lineup. But I'm going to take this and assume, oh God, that scoring was really high. What up, Quinny? Thank you for coming. And waiting on my taxi. Quinny, never in the office, but somehow always still streaming or watching streams. Love it. Absolutely love it. So we'll go through here and get some XP for us. Looks like Messi is at 8.5. And actually, I mean, obviously, I would have, looking at this lineup, there's no way. I realize there are situations where you probably can convince yourself that you should captain Joey Veerman over Lionel Messi, but get out of here. Ter Stegen, Bayer, and Cruz. All right, what do we got here? You guys will quickly see the lineups that I did put together. Ter Stegen, Bayer. Bayer's definitely in the U23 one. There's Ter Stegen at 7%. Bayer and Cruz. Again, I don't. Yeah, like this was basically a throwaway. Oh no, it wasn't. So I bought this Riccardo Orsolini card. I have 2 Champion Europe. I have 3 Champion Europe limited cards. Messi, Neymar, and Mitchell Van Bergen, who I really hope one day comes good. But I had these other guys, and I thought to myself, it's a limited, like maybe I should just get one. And Orsolini was questionable, which I think he might have been questionable after I bought him. But either way, as you can see, he didn't play. But I was 100 points short. Hoffman had a terrible game against Leipzig. And Tapsoba, also a bad game against, is that Bremen? And then, of course, he bangs 100 in the midweek. But it is what it is. So there's Bayer, who is that 4.5%? Can that be that low? It is. So Bayer is at 4.5. Shout out Harry Trades. And then, yeah, Cruz, I'm getting to the end here, is unused. Unused Tony Cruz, who banged 94.7. Because why not? And that's 7%. 94 in 74 minutes. Sometimes the right decisions don't pay off. What did I say? 7%? I'm just going to say 7. All right, Captain Joey Veerman, and that gets us to a resounding 516. Sorry, it's a little warm in here, so I'm rolling the sleeves up, getting to work. You know how it is. Chani's asking for my weekend lineups at the end. We'll see about that. We'll see. I felt good about them, and then I realized I had an extra hour because of daylight savings, and then I didn't feel as good about them. It's kind of funny how that happens. 516 points, All-Star limited. If that was beaten, good game to that manager. 516, runs away with it. I cheated, to be honest, and I looked ahead, and All-Star limited got Joshua Kimmich. Allen second. It's weird to see Kimmich, like valuation-wise, way ahead of Kimmich, and then Kavicha at third. All would have been really fun. I'm not going to lie. And like I said, like this is a lineup that I could have built. The only reason why I wouldn't have is because I tend to make my U23 lineup first in limited. I don't know why I do that. And actually, this game week, I took out some of my better U23, like this weekend one that Chani's wondering about. I took out some of my better U23 guys and put them in non-U23 lineups. So I want to believe I would put something like this together. But alas, I did not. And I don't have a Kimmich to play for this game week because I didn't play this lineup. But that's what happens. And we move on. Simple as that. So I already lost my players from the game week. I've done this. This is now the 6th show, and I still haven't really figured out the best way to do the tabs and everything. Oh no, I wanted to do my results. So look at that. Oh, I'm already winning a tier 3 rare. Who's even playing already? Oh, Muslera's gotten the start. Let's go. Let's go. Anyway, sorry. So we move on. Now we have, let's see. I'll go rare until I see what the first super rare is, and then maybe that will help us. So I have a Chris Durkin, who I don't even know if I played it, but like that's not a card I would ever play in a reasonable lineup. In fact, that may have been his highest score ever. I will add that Chris Durkin, I mentioned this on some show yesterday. Chris Durkin is the worst purchase I've ever made on Sorare. I bought one early, and then I bought another one in the peak, like the Gary V boom, and it was bad. I might be the highest, so I'm like the second highest. Oh, I'm not the highest. Okay, I don't even know what that other one was, but this feels like it has to be a misclick. 0.538. Woo. But if you see that I purchased two and then I sold one, but I have to hold on to this one forever because I can't ever get out of this card. And Jump Shoe is actually right. You buy at the top, and I even like Fiat was like there was a day in time on Sorare where $339. Oh my God, it was an auction too. Like I actually competed. Like there were opportunities to not buy this card. I could have just left Jeff Opens Cards to have it, and I was like, no, I'm buying this card. Wow. I wonder if I've ever won anything. That is astonishing. That's really bad. But Durkin is in because he was there. So Usami, I have a rare and a super rare of. And so I have a McNeil rare. And then it's exactly right. I was not going to be denied. Nacho, Enzo, Muslera. I'm trying to find my next Escayo as a super rare. All right, let's do super rare. Let's do rare pro, because I'm going into this already knowing there's no way I'd make this lineup. Like Durkin starts it, and then seeing what else I have, it's just like a no way. But it at least gives me an idea of how stupid some lineups can be and win rewards. So Usami, who has been really good and is injured this game week and is killing me. So Ramalta was mentioning McNeil's on fire. So he is, and he plays against Chelsea this weekend, and I didn't play him, and I still don't know if it's the right move. I was talking to him with Gator Guy, and he was like, he's just running good now. Like he's not this good, which I agree with. But man, it is hard to not play cards like that are just like absolutely on fire, regardless of the matchup. So anyway, Durkin, Usami, McNeil. As if the Durkin wasn't enough. We've got the Dwight McNeil, which I did win. And so that was fun. So I need a defender, and I believe I saw, we have Muslera. And then I'm going to scroll down quickly here to Ricardo Escayo, who I have a super rare of. So this is the rare pro lineup that I could have made. And I think if you looked at this lineup, you'd just be like, oh, you have no idea what you're doing. Like it's as simple as that. But sometimes, like I said, sometimes these things win. And it kind of looks like this one might have just smashed. So what's funny is that I'm pretty sure I played Usami in capped 240, and I think I did McNeil also. And so like I had other, so I have Usami. Is this cap 2? Oh, wow. I played in cap 220. This was so painful. Literally 5 decisive actions to win a tier 4 super rare. And João Felix, who I think had a goal taken away, or he hit the post. He was offside, I suppose. He scored, his shoelace made him offside. They took the goal off, and then he committed, or an error led to goal, which was just such a punch in the face. So McNeil's not still 5% because I've used him a few times. If he is, 6.5. So where are we here? 6.5 McNeil. And Usami is still, oh my God, is he still, there he is. Oh, I use him in cap 270, super rare. 29.5%. Always fun. I think my favorite thing about this lineup is that I know I'm captaining Chris Durkin. And like, that's absurd. Did I even use Durkin? Oh, Paulo Diaz. Yeah, didn't you used, so this is the Durkin card. 9%. That's wild. It proves how long I've had the card. How hard we train here at Lairdinho FC. There's no giving up. So what do we got? Muslera and Escayo. I don't think did I even use Escayo? Muslera and Escayo. Let's see. I used, there's Muslera, 5.5%. Oops. And Escayo, I don't even know if that's actually how you say his name. The more I say it, the less I think that's how you say it, but I'm not sure how else you would say it. So he's at 25.5. That's fair. Come on. 25.5. Apply the power. 486 in All-Star Rare Pro with this absurdity. 486. Let's call it fifth place. Oh, Nep. Look at that. What is that lineup? Odysseus. Oh, I remember this lineup. Yeah, this was a banger. Yeah, that's a fun lineup. Congrats, Nep. That was a good one. So the best we got was fifth place in All-Star Rare Pro, which is Kevin De Bruyne. Heard of him? Oh, man. Like, so the cool thing about the new tier system is that if you win a star, you like know it's a star. So like, look at these players like Messi, Bruno, Kavicha, Odysseus, yeah, De Bruyne, Van der Voort, and Rui. Man, I mean, even these are, man, sheesh. Tough week not to bang. So let's go to rare. We've got Muslera, Durkin, and McNeil. And Usami, actually, because I have both. All right. Muslera, Durkin, Usami, and McNeil. I need my top defender rare card, which Bear Crew, let's see. This is where I need to play some music or something as I just endlessly scroll. So the frustrating thing about this game week is I had a lot of good scoring goalkeepers. We talked about like Muslera was there, Guzan 74.9, Cone 74.8, Nishikawa 74.7, Armani 73.4. I mean, like, man. And imagine building a lineup with this lineup and you're like, do I play? I'm going to take the highest scoring guys of Takashi, Usami, Dwight McNeil, and Dusan Tadic. And you're like, yeah, I'm just leave Tadic out. He's not helping here. Paulo Diaz. Oh, there's Pamacol. So Paulo Diaz, near and dear to my heart, really, really could use him to start this weekend. So we're at 425. Even if I got up to like 450 with XP, well, I guess 443 with the captain. I was just going to skip all the XP because I already forgot it from last time. I really should just like write these things down. But alas, I won't. Still waiting for a first card win on this Vinaken, I think. Yeah. If it comes this week, speaking of Paulo Diaz. Oh, man. I'd like to win a reward this week. I'll put it that way. Winning a reward would be a lot more fun than not winning some. 7.5 Usami rare. McNeil was 6.5, I remember, and Durkin was 9, and 6.5. Come on. Durkin was 9. Diaz is 9.5. I know because I tweeted about it earlier this week about how he's very close to level 20. I think Muslera was 5.5, right? So 453 in All-Star Rare. 453. That doesn't seem that high. Yeah. Well, actually, 7th. I would move ahead of M80 Barbell Club. And 7th in All-Star Rare was Ederson. Ederson's one of those weird cards because he's actually not that good. Meaning, like, he doesn't score that well. And everyone is talking about when in like the Premier League draft game, cap game, whatever we're calling it, amateur. You're like, oh, you should get Ederson because like his L15 is so low. Like this dude like earns this L15. Like I don't know why people are paying $1,400 for this card. Isco's saying it's good to see Paulo Diaz back. I might be happier than he is that he's back, as long as he actually stays back. The fact that he has to play next to LGP is insane. Anyway, so those were the 3. Yeah, I banked that out in 25 minutes. I don't think. Let me see what the scores were for All-Star Super Rare, because I don't think any of the Super Rares, although I did have some goalies. 524 and All-Star Super Rare is kind of all right. Let's do it. Why not? Memphis probably, yeah, exactly. So earlier this week, I had a lineup that I built that had, it was Armani, it was a River Plate stack, 4-player River Plate stack, and Dusan Tadic. And I was like, let's go. And De La Cruz was one of them. And then he got ruled out. So that's a bummer. Love me some De La Cruz. Tried to buy a super rare recently, and I didn't try. The people selling him, I think there's a bit of like a cartel mentality with it that they refuse to sell or post below, I think it was 1.4 ETH. And like I bet it's right now the floor is 0.14 or excuse me 1.4 for De La Cruz super rare, which is insane. Yep, there it is, because it's literally 10 times his rare floor, but it never sells. Absolutely never sells. But it just keeps. Oh, they get Nanzo 1.35. So like 1.35 didn't sell, and so the next person was like, let me just go to 1.4. Not even. Somebody was trying to go for 2, and then the last one that sold was 0.75, which is like one of those prices that probably makes sense when he's fit, but the dude is just never fit. It's like so. Like. He was linked to Man City for a while, and it was one of those that he's great when he plays. Simple as that. He gets some set pieces sometimes and just doesn't always put it together. Felix said just bought a New York City defensive and Cincinnati offensive stack for cap 270. That's kind of fun. I don't know if I should say this out loud. I guess I'll say it out loud. So I have a Luis Barraza rare card that I've had for almost 2 years because I bought it when Gator Guy did his whole Knighton season thing. And he was buying up Brad Knightons because he knew Matt Turner was going to be gone for the Gold Cup. I bought Luis Barraza and Thomas Hasel, actually, because I knew that Sean Johnson and who was the starter in Vancouver at that time? Crepeau, maybe? Were going to be gone. And so I've had this Barraza card forever. And I kept thinking I was going to buy a Thiago Martins super rare. And he just like really hasn't been that great. And I just hesitated on it. And then he had a huge score last week. And it was just like, I could have had that. Felix said, bought Barraza, Martins, and Parks. That's awesome. Love it. Love it. I have Barraza. Keaton Parks is the first card I ever bought on the platform. Like literally my first, I'm pretty sure my first card on the platform, which is why I have it in my Hall of Fame on So Rare, but it's this card right here. Somehow not at level 20. He was out for so long, that's why. But yeah. Shout out to Botinho. Hopefully still playing around. Bass Mike just came in. What did you not win so far? So I didn't win a Messi for first place in All-Star Rare Pro, which I would have won by 30-ish points. And then I would not have won Rare Pro, or I wouldn't have won Rare. Oh, wait a minute. Did I win Rare Pro? I don't even remember now. Thankfully, it just like rolls off. I definitely would have won All-Star Limited, which would have gotten me a Chemic. And then Messi was the first prize. I think I would have won there. Rare Pro would not have won All-Star Rare. So that's it. Jose asking, so for 356, Velez stacked for 240, 270, or Americas. I haven't, to be honest, I haven't looked at all of who else plays. I mean, I guess we could just do that. There are no rules here. 356. Oh, it's all the qualifiers, right? So that's weird that they even play midweek, no less. I kind of think you should play, definitely not Americas. I can't imagine the prize pool is any good. I'm surprised it's even open. I mean, I guess it's open. I would definitely not play Americas. I would probably just play 240 if you could and try to win it, because there's so many like lineup shenanigans during internationals that if you have like 5 starters, I think you're already like well ahead of the curve. And so I would definitely do that. Good question. Like a strategy question. Love that. So where was I here? I guess I've just completely lost track of what I was talking about now that we look at what I didn't win. Oh, was I going to do All-Star or Super Rare? Let's do it. You know, something to talk about. So we'll go back here. I really should just write this stuff down, or at least like look at different tabs for each player. So we've got Usami, Super Rare. Nope. Let me get rid of this one so I don't get confused. Usami's Super Rare. This is where I'm like, boy, if I only had a Durkin Super Rare, as if like that would do anything. Oh, this is. Did he really score more than Paolo? 75. Paolo 72. He did. Simple as that. Let's see. I've got a Guzan Super Rare. His lineup is so stupid. Although, to be honest, like my Super Rare, I don't have many like teammate or Super Rare stacks. I kind of do actually now with Sporting, now that this guy was playing. But Super Rares are just so hard to get. And getting some that makes sense with the rest of your lineups is just, it's just hard. So I have a Paolo and a VL Panto. I can't believe this is happening. There you go. Paolo Diaz. I don't think I didn't play Paolo that much, like in anything important last week. So this is the stupidest Super Rare, All-Star Super Rare lineup you could probably ever make. We've got 3 guys from the Americas, 1 from Challenger, and 1 from Asia. It's probably a lineup I would have made, to be honest. Just like, but like my last one. Like, oh, I didn't, like Usami I definitely would have prioritized. VL Pando I would not. Escaio I would not. Paolo I didn't last week because he was like questionable to play. In fact, I don't even know. Like I played Armani here. So I usually try to play Armani. Oh, and De La Cruz. But I had a Paolo Diaz. I have a Paolo Diaz rare that I could have played here. And I was like, he's too risky to do it. So I didn't even, I just keep scrolling. You're not going to find one. There he is. Champion America Super Rare with a benched goalkeeper is where I played my Paolo Diaz Super Rare. And I don't think I played the rare. Yeah, I didn't even play the rare. And he got 70-something points, which, like, sweet. But let's see what we could have won. So I have this code. What is that? 32%. I don't know if anyone has noticed, and I really hate talking about stuff like this, because it's like something that happens, and we should all be aware that it happens, but you also don't want to, not that people are going to get concerned about it, but River Plate is no longer licensed, or at least they weren't on the license list anymore. Sorare.com. And so that 32% Paulo Diaz car is just going to keep going. Let's see. River. Yeah, just nothing shows up when you Control F and type in River. And so I would love it if they became like a super card, or this one did. Unfortunately, all of my other River Plate cards are old. And so, not that they have like bad XP, but they're not going to get that much higher because here's Usami. Because at some point you just can't go higher. 29.5. Like turning into Minero. So Isco said he needed some new pants when he realized River no longer licensed. Isco, is that like because you're happy about it, or because it's harder to well, it's not even really that hard to get cards once they stop getting minted, but theoretically they do because there are not as many of them, but honestly it's. So I still need Escayo and VL Pando, who, I played together. These guys are perfect for a cap 220. 25 and a half, 24. $25 and a half and 24%, not 240%. And then I think Usami was the highest one. So 504 in All-Star Super Rare. So that's seems high, but like not that high. Like 504 is literally second place. Shit. Wow. What is this lineup again? No, I'm not making this. All right. Whew. So let's check out the rewards from that game week. And I'm not even sure. Man, that is such a stupid lineup. That if you're ever in this situation where you just have like leftovers, like always put the lineup in. Never don't. Like put them in. Because you just never know. You never know when your Guzan, Escayo, VL Pando, Usami, Paulo Diaz card is good enough to finish second in All-Star Super Rare and win you a Talus Magno Super Rare. Wow. That's awesome. I love this guy. Would have loved that card. Quinny, I won every podium. In fact, you just walked back into a podium. I would have finished second in All-Star Super Rare with a lineup of Guzan, Escayo, VL Pando, Usami, and Diaz. Which, not a lineup I'm really making. But that Talus Magno card, I'm assuming it was this one. Gorgeous. Blue on blue. Man. It's fun. But again, not making this lineup. Let's not be stupid. So what are we? 39 minutes in. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask. But I'm going to go through. I guess I'll go through my lineups for this week and at least talk about the experience and how it's becoming more work than anything else. Isco is saying I only play Argentina, so it'd be big blow to my so rare experience. I get that because you can't win them anymore. And agreed. I hope they can renew and add some others. Yeah, I think that's where we go. Like we need just more of those types of teams. I would love them to find some stuff for Asia. My boy Trippin' B always talks about the A League. I don't follow the A League at all. I don't know if there are any game breakers, but like, it doesn't matter. Part of me thinks I don't think so. But let's just get more clubs. Simple as that. So Flongs, yes. River is not licensed anymore. They ain't licensed. It happens. Like, what are you going to do? I think Boca is still there, though. So it's not like we lost. It's not like they lost anything. Where's Boca? Oh, is this where I find out we don't have Boca either? Let's see. Oh, no. Oh, man, that website. Mike Basson saying Craig Goodwin, whoever that is. All right, I'll take your word for it. Oh, that's right. I'm sorry, Mike. I did it on Twitter. Quinny, happy birthday. I hope it's a great day. Hopefully you were in a cab going off to some celebration or moving from one celebration to another. Should be all day. I have a feeling there are going to be other people out celebrating today. So that's kind of nice. Quite convenient birthday there, Quinny. Happy St. Patrick's Day to anybody who cares. So lineups for this game week. I didn't really know where to start this game week. I always start with All-Star Rare Pro because I feel like I have cards that can compete for a card. I'm not looking to podium everything. It would be nice, but I'm not like, I try to be realistic with my expectations that if I get all 5 guys right, then yeah, I can get up there. But to like have to score like the 500s, like you just need so much to go right. And that's it. I just try to be realistic about it. So All-Star Rare Pro is the first lineup I built. And the biggest hesitancy I had, actually, I'm not going to get into that quite yet. So All-Star Rare Pro is the first one I make. I then do all of my cap 240s because I think that accumulating ETH it's a priority for me. And that's the best way to do it. I don't think my cards are good enough to finish high enough in All-Star Rare or Rare Pro to like compete for the ETH. I don't feel the same way about All-Star Limited though, which is why I made this lineup. But the 2 River Plate guys, obviously Enzo is not still there, but I want to win all 3 of meaning limited, rare, and super rare thresholds in 240. And then try to finish top 300 in All-Star. And it's just a little ETH in All-Star when you finish like 100 to 300. But it does feel like I have the cards to do that. And so these are the cards that I felt I could do it with this week. And we'll see what happens. So All-Star Rare Pro is really the lineup that I focused on. And I went with River Plate. And then my new favorite card in that old Vanaken and Tadic. And I probably should have captained Vanaken, but I didn't because I feel like Tadic is home against Feyenoord. Tough match at the top of the table, but I feel like sometimes those Eredivisie matches, like with 2 good teams, can like go off. And so that's kind of what I'm hoping for. And Enzo Perez is the GOAT next to the Lord. So I had to play them together. And then, yeah, I just have to really hope that Paolo brings it again with an Armani clean sheet. They are away, but they should win. I'll also point out while I'm here that if you click on one of these games before a game starts, and this is actually updates throughout the week, so you can do it ahead of time, or if you go to the Game Week Center and you go to a game, or you go to our lineup projections, we now try to emulate the formations that these guys would play in. Doesn't always work. It's still a little wonky. We get it. Like, we're working on it. And so, but you can kind of get a idea of formation and stuff. Isco saying River should win. They should win. I need them not to concede, which is a classic sporting issue that I have. And I just hate it. So let's see. Cap 240 Super Rare is the second lineup I make. Like, I literally go All-Star Rare Pro, and then I put my theoretically best Super Rares into Cap 240 Super Rare. Never with the intention of winning a card, always with the intention of making the ETH threshold. And I realize that sounds really weird, but I think it's just more realistic that I'm going to win ETH than a card. So do the projected formations put the keepers up front? Is that what happened in the last one? I didn't even notice. What was that? River Plate? Oh, no. Not River Plate, at least. Whew. I would happily take an Armani goal, though, this game week. But anyway, so I have 3 super rare goalkeepers. And where I use them is I basically use them in either cap 240, cap 270, and usually All-Star. And All-Star is always the last team. And then like guys I think will help me get to 240. That's the plan with those. And I do the same thing with cap 240 rare. Shout out to Tuggy and Gator. We all played Luis Urruti in the 240 rare. And Barraz's L15 is really low. So is Keaton Parks. So is Urruti. So that allowed me to get Zella Ryan and McAllister in there. 2 cards that I'm hoping. This one I feel like has a better chance of winning a card than just ETH than the super rare one. But again, I'm just here for the ETH, man. And then this is the 240 limited one. So, oh, yeah. Yes, Mike, that happens sometimes. I agree. Just those wonky things. So, do I really have to go through all of these? I'll go through them quickly. What are we at? 45 minutes? It's not. I look at that like there's a clock, as if like somebody's going to pull me at 60 and be like, yeah, no more. But I have no stories to tell. So, All-Star Rare. It's kind of a weird lineup. Like it makes no sense. And so, like Guzan has a good matchup. Fukumori is not great against Gamba, but they're without Usami. Ito is not great matchup home against Marseille. Can you ever go wrong with the João Felix captain? The answer is yes. Yes, you can. But we'll see. This was the throw. Yes, hopefully Yari plays. Somebody said that they saw a video of him like jumping around in the dressing room after the match. And so that seems good. I don't know. So All-Star Super Rare, I somehow lucked my way into an Alanya Spore defensive stack with Runnerson and Fidal. Fidal, I had it when he was at Sporting. Like I've had this card for a while. And he was part of the center back rotation that they had. Did I get him? I might have gotten him before Coates, where it was like I was trying to get by with Adon Rare and Fidal Super Rare. And I was like, it'll be fine. And it wasn't fine. And I have won 2 rewards with him, one in a weekly challenge. And that was back in game week 246. And then the one before that was 204 for some random goalie that I eventually sold. But so he went somewhere else last season. Where did he go? Real Valladolid. Never played. And I was like, well, this card's dead. And honestly, had no idea he even transferred to Alanyaspor. And saw that he did after game week 351 because I was going through my cards and I saw his score. And I was like, wait a minute. Who does he even play for now? And I saw Alanyaspor and I was like, oh my God, I have their goalie. And I've had Runnerson for a while. I don't think I've won anything. I won 1 card with it. Man. But the thing that I always liked about him, so I bought him like right around here because I saw, I mean, I guess we could actually see exactly when I got it. So this was October 25th, which would have been right after game week. So he didn't, game week 316. So like right here. So yeah, I looked at all these scores and I was like, these are really good scores for 0 clean sheets. Like if you can score 50 to 58 without a clean sheet, if you do get a clean sheet, and then the dude started getting some clean sheets. I mean, 83, 80, 70. I mean, it was great. Obviously the lows can get pretty low. Here he allowed 3 and he committed a penalty. So that gets your 14. Helps the cap. And he allowed 3 here. he's volatile, but like when he's up, he is up. And so it was really exciting. And now I have this defensive stack, which is cool, except they've got a terrible matchup home against Fenerbahce this weekend. But hopefully in the next few weeks, it all lines up and I can use those two. And that's why you should never sell cards. I'm just kidding. I couldn't get rid of this Fidel card if I wanted to. That's the funny thing. Like, could not have gotten rid of it, or could not get rid of it. And now I'm getting some utility. Seko is a card I've had for a while. Lubicic as well. And Dahomi's in and out. Like, he probably won't even start because he started the Champions League, CONCACAF Champions League match this past midweek. So Cap 220 was guys I had left over. This might have been the last lineup I made. And it's there. The rare one. So Michael Doolin, anyone who doesn't watch Looking Up with Laird on Sorare TV, we talked about him. And I have his limited, rare, and super rare, and I played them all 40 last week and had them all in 240 this week when I first made my lineups. And I think I tinkered him out of every single one of them. Oh, no, I think I played him in 240 limited. But he had a great goal last week. He was up. So that 240 rare lineup that like just missed a reward, he was at like 65 points at one point, 64-ish, and gave it all away. So we went back down to 60, and like that was the difference. So I was winning a card at one point, and his score actually went down. Possessions lost or some, whatever it was. So Joe Bendick is a bit of a cheat code, and I pretty much like didn't feel like I could really take advantage of it. I have this weird thing where, like, had I used him in Cap 240, I probably should have thrown in like Tadic. Like, I didn't want to throw in Tadic in that lineup. And so I have this somewhat cheat code because Bendick's like a 28 L15. I don't even know what he is now. 26, even better. And so I have him in this lineup, and it's 5 guys that should start. So we'll see what happens. And then Nuno Tavares is the super rare that I won last week. And like I said, these scores, like, I love that in back-to-back games, he had 31 AA and negative 22. And then negative 17, negative 18, but he had a decisive, so he got bailed out. And Andy commented on Sober Andrews yesterday that like he's due. Like, if you could just see that, like, good game, bad game, good game, bad game. So when I win first place in Cap 220 Super Rare this week because of this absurd lineup, you'll know why. 240, there's the Doolin card. It's just 5 guys that fit under the cap that I hope can win me $5. Sorry, dropped off there for a second. I have this Mineiro stack of players that do not play for Mineiro anymore. Junior Alonso plays with Safonov at Krasnodar, and then Nacho is at River Plate. I thought about putting Paulo Diaz in this lineup, but I didn't. And now that I'm looking, I kind of wish I did, just for the fun. That's all. But here's my Paulo rare. Shout out to Trip and B with my Swiderski card here. I think this lineup could do well, and so we'll see. Cap 270 super rare. I bought this Fernando Goriran super rare this week. It felt like one of those times where I was like, he's getting too cheap for how good he can be. Now, granted, he's been dreadful, like legit dreadful. Like, look at this. That's really bad. But he takes set pieces for a good team, and therefore I was willing to buy it, and we'll see. Flong's just asking how super rare is working out for me. It's fine. What I like about it, so this sounds really stupid, but what I like about it is winning super rares, because even though I've been on the platform for a while and I have a number of super rares, they still feel they feel not special, but they kind of feel special. And so winning them is cool. So like won that Nuno Tavares super rare last week, and it was like, oh, It's a card I never would have bought, but it's a super rare, so that's cool. Yeah, Mike's saying he's not as good as he was at Santos. He was really good for Tigres, like to start. Like he's had some very good games, like two good games. But whatever, we'll see. Who even asked you, Mike? So Isco saying I'm thinking about moving up to Super Rare with the goalkeepers really killing me. That's the worst part. The nut low of So Rare is super rare goalkeepers, and it's goalkeepers at every level, but super rare goalkeepers are particularly bad. I will say that there are some that are getting cheap, and Flong said I have a Van Crombridge super rare on my bench, but like that will be a great card next year, like next season, and so I think like that's okay. Cap 220 is also impossible. I don't think Cap 220 is impossible to play. The rewards aren't rewarding. I'll put it that way. But I won that Nuno Tavares was from Cap 220. Like any super rare reward is fun. And so, yeah, Flong said I was thinking about getting into 240. Somebody sent me a lineup earlier this week of somebody who made a 240 lineup for under an ETH, including a goalkeeper, and they hit the threshold the first week. And so, so it's worth. I'm not here to like not financial advice, but like I find these fun, and so you just have to make sure that they are going to play and that there's significantly more risk when it comes to them because you have to allocate more capital to them, and if they don't play, you're kind of in trouble. Like this Osmar card that's up on the screen, like I had that, and he was hurt for a long time, and that was a killer. Ben Johnson's talking about Craig Gordon from Hearts. Is this super rarely 0.1? Yeah, I guess. Yeah, HVC looks like everyone's just willing to sit on it. I thought about buying one too, to be honest. Challenger Europe, also one of the last lineups I made. It's 5 guys who play in Challenger Europe. That's the analysis there. This is a coin farming lineup here. Shinton obviously does not start, but I have extra cards. And so I think they like Mulenstein, who is someone I usually like to play, but like home against PSV. Karavaev's against Cheska. Brules hasn't really been great, and Muleka doesn't even start. So there's that. Challenger Europe Rare Pro. Apparently Dino Hotic is starting this week, but Fabian De Keyser is not, so it doesn't even matter. But again, getting these sweet coins, man. God knows what I'll use them for. We got a Sounders stack. They are home against LAFC with Harold Preciado from Santos. It's I have Jordan Morris, and I just never like to play him. The guy's been awesome this year, and I never do. Champion American Rare is another coin farming one. Carlos Hill probably out, and Panchito's out with a torn ACL. Anyway, Lairdinho has actually been really good. It's one of those weird, like random guys that I've owned for a long time. 0.05, but I'm hoping that was like $13. But yeah, 60 and 54, like almost a 20 AA last week in 67 minutes. Looks like Sporting Kansas City might be pretty good to target. My God, at one point I thought Kelvin Lairdinho was worth $85. Whew. Champion America Rare Pro, I really like this lineup. And I'm already scared about it because apparently it's going to be like negative 100 in Toronto this week for their home opener. And Michael Bradley and Federico Bernardeschi play there. So that's not great. And then Gallese and Jansen play in beautiful Orlando, Florida. I bought this Jansen card this week, actually. So I had the Gallese. I was actually trying to get a Gallese super rare for a long time, and it just never got there. And then I saw this Jansen super rare, and so I thought that was a good piece. Please, nobody tell Trippenby that I'm playing this, or else he might not talk to me again. But yeah, the Bernardeschi forward card, that's the only one you should have. You should never have the midfielder. And then what's funny is that I was thinking about playing Carlos Hill in this lineup. And when it looked like he was going to sit, I was like, oh, I'll just play Paxton Palmacall. And I was like, never in my wildest dreams did I think I was ever going to say something like that. Champion Europe Limited is a total throwaway. Everyone has bad matchups, literally home against Real Madrid, home against Bayern Munich, home against Bremen, which isn't that bad. Koke is Koke, home against Valencia, and then Van Bergen, who does not start, is home against Marseille. Champion Europe, another throwaway. U23. So this is actually, I took some of my better U23 cards out. So like Veerman isn't here. I think I had Noah Lang somewhere else. Not that he's been like fantastic. Tapsoba had the bad matchup. And so I have these guys. It's not like a bad lineup. Don't get me wrong. It's just I'm not really expecting much from this lineup. And then this is a leftover U23 with a captain, Chris Durkin, because he's there. Thomas Durso loses U23 eligibility, so I'm just trying to get everything I can out of him. And then Lee Hanbum's not going to play at all, but it'd be nice to get the XP on this card. So I have all these lineups. I'm like scrolling through, and I really would just like to win like All-Star Rare Pro, my thresholds, maybe cards from there, and that's it. So don't let like a lot of lineups fool you. It doesn't mean that somebody's like good at this game or has like really competitive lineups. It just means that they have a lot of lineups. And yeah, that's it. Yep. Durso in a derby. Oh, great. Hidnasi hasn't won in 16 years. Well, good thing I didn't prioritize him. But yeah, so that's all I got for this week. That hour really flies. I appreciate you guys in the chat, to be honest. There's some new names and some familiar ones, and yeah, that part makes it really fun. And I think I talked about that. I don't remember if I talked about this last week or in another show, but yeah, the chat, I enjoy having you guys like here and like participating in the conversation, and it certainly helps me move along, lets me think about things and learn things, like the fact that Gimnasia haven't won against Estudiantes in 16 years, which is absolutely wild. Apparently they blew a 3-1 lead and it drew 4-4. So yeah, thank you to everybody for joining. If you could please hit the like button, that's really appreciated. I have this thing where I look at the views on these videos and they're not as high as the ones of the other videos we do, which is probably like perfectly reasonable because I consider this show literally the worst one of all the Sorare data shows that we do every week. That's because all the people I do them with, I think, are really sharp and helpful. And so we have the strategy show, the football strategy show on Monday with PSU fans too. And then Tuesday, I actually usually try to take off. So there's that. But Wednesday, we do office hours with me and Maxime. And I think we might try to get a few other people from Sorare data who don't usually do content to maybe come on with us and talk about what they do. Admittedly, they all speak really good English, but they don't think they do. That's actually something I'll talk about another time because I've already gone like way over that I wanted to today. But I have noticed that Europeans who speak English, who don't think they speak English well, speak English so well. So there are people in America right now who speak significantly worse English than the people in Europe who think they don't. So we'll see about that. And then we also do the Sorare Data NBA show. That's still a weekly show, but we might have to pull that back a little bit during the off season. I just don't know how much NBA there's going to talk about. And then there's also, Looking Up with Laird is actually not a Sorare data show. It is with me though. And that's over on Sorare TV. If you haven't subscribed to that channel, please do so. And then Sorare Andrews as well, me and Andy. Someone described that as two guys at the pub talking about Sorare, which I love. I love that description because that's really how it feels. Admittedly, the only time I've been in a pub with Andy, he was absolutely blasted. And there's actually a video of the first time we met. John Nellis tweeted it because he was there also. Not as blasted as Andy. And so that conversation is actually very different than when we are actually at the pub, or at least we speak clearer. And so there's that. And then, yeah, Friday we're here. So thank you to everybody for joining and for watching all the Sorare data content. It really does mean a lot. The support is really, really nice. And so thank you for that. And I'll talk to you next week. Good luck this game week.